Got it. Okay. And then I'm just going to take a couple seconds. I just got to share the link out.
And 4, man.
All right. We're live.
Here we go.
Links.
So I look back, I think this time last year, we had like one dual meet on a Saturday, then had to wait, 7 days, wrestle again. You think about like first 3 weeks in December, we got 3 matches in total for each kid the whole month of December. And now tomorrow, kids are going to wrestle 3-4 matches at Eau Claire. It's just awesome. So it's just nice to be back after it, man.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love to hear that.
Yeah, you bet.
I accidentally almost copied and pasted the Zoom link.
Oh yeah, don't do that. That would have been wild. All of a sudden we got people coming in here. Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario.
Let us know our track wrestling seeds are all messed up or something. So hopefully not.
All right. We are live on YouTube. Teak Fenwick invited you to a Zoom meeting.
There we go.
That would have been horrible. All right. I just got to get the big 3: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, just let me know when you're ready to rock and roll, man.
All right. Share. But we are like there's one person watching now. So
there we go. All right.
So if you want to entertain the people, well.
All right. Well, first I'll just introduce myself. So I'm Jake Rebin. I'm the head wrestling coach at Eau Claire North High School. And this is my 5th year at Eau Claire North. We are in the Big Rivers Conference up in Northwest Wisconsin, Regional 1A. We are also hosting the sectional this year. And it's a bruiser of a sectional. We bring in some really tough schools from the Mississippi Valley Conference, a lot of Central Wisconsin scrappers. And then we also have the Big Rivers, which is a very talented wrestling conference. So, just really, really excited to be here. We were kind of talking a little bit earlier. I don't think this has ever really kind of been done before in terms of going on and actually breaking down a bracket, weight class by weight class, and what the pre-seeds are before the seeding meeting. Be an opportunity for everyone to kind of see where everybody is at. Obviously, being early in the year, a lot of these things are going to kind of shift a little bit tomorrow. We'll have the seeding meeting in the morning before the tournament. And some things are probably going to get moved around at that point. This is the 57th Husky Wrestling Invitational tomorrow. And it was, honestly, we've got kind of snowpocalypse going on out there. It's pretty wild as I look out my window here. There's like just everywhere. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the snow is like massively, like all the way up. There's it's been a pretty decent amount so far. So we've lost some teams and some individuals, and we'll kind of probably talk about that a little bit later. But we've got a great group of teams that are ready to go for tomorrow. A lot of teams that traveled up the night before, and 57th edition of the Husky Invite. We're gonna get after it tomorrow.
I'm really impressed. Arrowhead was committed, leaving at 8 this morning.
Yep, they got on the bus this morning. They said if we're wrestling Saturday, we're coming up. Jeremy and those guys do a great job. Randy, really, really impressed with their program, obviously, over the last couple of years. But they were not messing around. They said if you're having it on Saturday, we're leaving bright and early on Friday. We're gonna make sure we get up there and we're ready to go, and we're gonna make it happen. So that was awesome. He was one of the first people that reached out last night to make sure that it was going to be a go. I think if it was up to some of the coaches around the state, I had one coach even an hour ago called me and was like, I'm going to try to get a van, and I'm calling my superintendent. We're going to try to make it happen. But, every district's got to make the decision that they're comfortable with. And we definitely understand, with safety and everything else and the roads being in the shape that they are, but we're just excited to put some mats out this, last couple of days, get everything rolled out. It's just fun to see the gym set up. It's going to be jumping around tomorrow. It'll be really, really cool opportunity to bring some people back into the doghouse and get after it.
I'm just speed running like sloppy captions on the stories right now. This is great.
You're good to go.
Yeah,
Good to go, man.
grammar's fine though. That's all that matters.
So that is you got some pretty interesting a little bit different background than the last live stream there. So
Hey, we do have 5 people on. And then yeah, for those of you that who've been on our live stuff before, we're gonna be going mostly through the pre-seed, but if you guys have any like comments on duels from last night or anything that you want to put in the chat, like feel free to. If you have news on tournament tomorrow or like fun brackets that people should be checking out on Track Wrestling tomorrow, definitely feel free to put it in here. Like I said, I want to use these lives kind of as a means for all of us to share our information with each other. Like there's a lot of teams in Wisconsin wrestling, so can't just be like one person who can do all the information. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for hopping on. I do want to give a little shout out to the Arrowhead faithful. They messaged me like an hour ago as I was driving through this storm. They're like, hey, we're just waiting in the hotel lobby and we're ready for you. I'm like, okay, I'll be there. But no, this is fun stuff. 3 hours it took Jake to get from Holman to Eau Claire.
that's a bit of a haul. Yeah, my wife is from Holman. Obviously, we usually make that trip in under an hour and a half. And yeah, so you doubled the time there. But wait, we're glad to have you here in Eau Claire and super excited to have you live streaming it tomorrow. We'll share the link out tonight on our social media stuff, and I'm sure Teague will share it out as well. But the finals are, I mean, we've lost some teams, but we'll go through the brackets. There's some really, really talented wrestlers, and there's going to be some really, really explosive finals. I'm really excited to see what happens. And it'll be, I mean, even we've had some crazy quarterfinal, semifinal matches that are going to kind of, shake out. So it'll be fun to have Teague on the scramble cam talking through some different matches and results tomorrow. So definitely if you're looking to watch a little bit of wrestling, make sure you tune in and check out the Husky TV on the Eau Claire North Athletics website.
I'm so pumped for tomorrow. I've heard the Husky invite like every year when the results come out. That's like one of the first brackets that I look at before and after the meet. And to be able to call, it's an honor. It's truly an honor. I know the Mother Nature tried to intervene, but hey, we made it up here and we're doing it for the Husky, man.
Absolutely, man.
Real quick,
and there's also a lot of information for people that are looking for information on like what teams are going to be there or kind of how things go in terms of like seating criteria and stuff like that. If you go to ecnwrestling.org, that's eauclairenorthwrestling.org. There's a whole page dedicated to our Husky invite. We do welcome in some new teams this year. Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser Prairie Farm from the Heart of the North Conference, Lakeville North Minnesota from the South Suburban Conference, unfortunately had to back out last minute, but was planning on coming. Stratford from the Marewood Conference, Viroqua from the Cooley Conference, both unfortunately had to back out. But a really, really big pickup just even a few weeks ago is Simley, Minnesota, defending 2A state champions over in Minnesota. They had 7 state champions last year alone, and they return a few of them. They're going to take the map tomorrow. That's a tough team, and that only makes our already very tough tournament a little bit tougher. So we're excited to see them out there and getting after it tomorrow on the mat.
I really like, I'm looking at the spreadsheet and I won't like single out any schools, but a lot of this is just saying district not allowing us to travel. Like these coaches were like going to go regardless. It took like someone else to tell them no.
For sure. And like we said, every district's got to make a decision that they are comfortable with. And we totally, I mean, the roads are bad right now. We get it. It's a tough situation. But we did look back at yearbooks all the way back to 1962, and we never found a year where the Husky invite was canceled. It was traditionally a tournament that was held in January. And then I forget which coach it was offhand. I had it written down somewhere, but sometime in the 80s, it got moved to the second weekend in December. And then my predecessor, Sir Mike Pernsteiner, who's our current athletic director, really kind of bolstered the tournament up. The year before that I got there, it was 18 teams, really good teams from Northwest Wisconsin. And one of the things that I tried to do was bring in some new teams that we don't usually get to see, which is like Arrowhead, Simley, some other schools from around the state. And now it's just kind of ballooned into this unbelievable tournament. We utilize 16-man brackets, wrestle all the way down to 15th place. And a few years ago, Pittsville, 2 years ago, actually, they had a wrestler in the 113 bracket. He wrestled for 13th place out of 16 places and ended up in the state semifinals. So it's fun to have brackets like that. we've had, a state champion, and the highest we've had anybody finish at the Husky in the 5 years that I've been here is second. So it's a bruiser of a tournament. It's always fun when you get a couple state champs in a bracket together, a couple state place winners, qualifiers. But the nice thing about it too is wrestling down to 15th place. You're allowing those other guys that need to get a little bit more experience and a little bit more mat time to kind of match up and wrestle as well. I know a lot of tournaments. I remember my freshman year, you go 0-2 barbecue and then you're done, you're watching your teammates wrestle. So it's kind of fun to give those kids an opportunity to keep learning and keep improving and keep growing. It's also one of the few tournaments that I know where, you can bring your varsity, your JV, and now your women's team. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. There's a lot of really cool things about it. Our event staff is first class. They do a great job. The food is unbelievable. I always really, really enjoy to see what our parents and families put together. They do an awesome job. So really excited for that tomorrow, for breakfast and everything else, if I'm being honest. And just a really, really cool event in just kind of a unique venue here in Eau Claire. So it's the longest running sporting event that we have in the Eau Claire area that we could find. So really, really excited to just get out there and get it going tomorrow, man.
It literally took a pandemic to end the run.
It did. We had 56. We had the last shirts we had were 56 annual. And then it was supposed to be 57th annual last year. And we have to take that out. But yeah, Mother Nature, she's trying to slow us down a little bit this year, but we're just finding a way to still make a good tournament and get after it. So.
And before we get into the seeds here, Jake, I'll do a quick little plug here. For those of you watching right now, I plan on doing this live every Friday before tournaments, just to talk about duels from Thursday and then talk about tournaments the next day. So if you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. You'll get notified whenever we go live. We're going to jump into the seeds here soon. If you guys have questions for Jake or if you have predictions or anything, throw them in the chat and I'll let them know what you all have to say. But yeah, also feel free to share this link with anyone who might not have access to it, just so they can go through. I'm really excited for this. When we kind of like thought of this idea at the blue gold duel on Wednesday, it didn't hit me until like the drive home. Like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like really fun to do. And even though there's not as many teams, I'm still pumped for it. So,
which, by the way, to go back to the blue gold duel, I mean, how cool to be there. All right, number one, first time that they beat Whitewater since 2006, but Coach Fader let me know second time UW Eau Claire has beaten Whitewater in school history in wrestling. And it was a lot of really good matches that kind of could win either way. A lot of really sweet pins. I mean, that was just a fun college wrestling match on Wednesday night there. That was sweet.
You told me like after the duel, you're like, yeah, it's pretty cool that you were here for that. And like, that was one of those things like, yeah, it was like, that was awesome. Like the place was going crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The environment was fun. It was a fun environment to be wrestling in.
I like the Husky. You're rocking all Eau Claire North stuff tonight.
Yeah, you'd be my wife definitely. She's like, I don't understand how you accumulated so many like shirts, t-shirts, sweatshirts. Every year I kind of seem to order like something else, and yeah, my closet is somehow morphed into like 90% North wrestling stuff. So it's just kind of slowly accumulated stuff over time. But my assistant coaches will joke, it's like, hey, welcome to North. Here's like 3 t-shirts and a sweatshirt. And like, I don't know, seem to accumulate, which is good because honestly, there wasn't a lot of places to buy North gear when I got here. Luckily I'm the same size as Mike, the former head coach. So I inherited some of his closet. And then I also, the lost and found, I just saw some wrestling stuff in there. And that was kind of what I wore to practice the first year. So we started there and now here we are. So.
I got my Ultra gear on left to right after work. No free ads though.
All right. Well,
anyway, what do you say we hop into it here, Jake? We'll start off at 106.
Yeah, let's get after it. Do you want me to share my screen here, Teague, so you can see the seeds, or do you want me to just talk through it? So it's up to you.
If you want to share your screen, I think we could. Yeah.
I've got like about 1 million tabs open, so we'll kind of see how that goes. So
we'll share the screen for a bit, and then we can we'll hop off the screen.
You got screen sharing disabled for right now, so I'm just going to talk through 106. First off, I do want to say there was we had over 70 ranked wrestlers that were going to be competing on Saturday if all 30 teams were able to come. Obviously, that's just not the case anymore. It's an interesting tournament because we utilize a 16 person bracket with pigtails. We lost a lot of teams, and unfortunately the one that was hit hardest was the women's tournament. This morning we had over 60 female wrestlers registered, and unfortunately, just because of travel time, those teams having to travel farther away, we've lost a lot of our women's teams. But I do just want a quick plug. Our women's program at Eau Claire North High School is amazing. We've got 2 female assistant coaches on staff that do an awesome job. Kaylee Herrick and Lindsay Anderson, they are great. They work with our kids. They're amazing. And we've got amazing kids. None of them have really a whole lot of wrestling experience prior to high school, but I just think that is such a great thing that the WIA did this year, and just an awesome thing for the sport to be more inclusive. So we are looking forward to just building that up each year bigger and bigger. And I think in the next couple of years, you'll see a varsity tournament with 300 kids plus a JV tournament with 300 plus kids, and then a women's tournament with 100 plus, female wrestlers. And I think that's going to be really, really cool. So we'll start off at 106. I will mention some of the wrestlers that we were missing out on as well. Just so, obviously we are going to focus on the guys that are wrestling, but I
got screen sharing on now for you.
Oh, perfect. So there are some brackets like 113 specifically where I know that we had the opportunity to have 3 guys that were ranked in the number 1 in the state. So that would have been pretty sweet. And we'll just kind of start at 106. So first off, we've got Austin from Simley, ranked number 4 in AA currently over there in Minnesota. He's a sophomore and a pretty tough wrestler from Simley. He's 6-1 on the season. He currently has the number 1 seed. As how it sits right now. Brayton Casey at 5-1 is sitting in the 2nd spot. Then we have Cole Steffen from St. Croix Falls, Eden Henning from New Richmond, Wyatt Eckler, who's got probably one of the better mullets in the tournament, although we do have to talk about that later because Menominee had a kid in the national mullet competition that's like one of their 195 pounders. So I don't know if he won it, but I know that he was like in the top 8 at one point. So it will be interesting to compare Wyatt's mullet to him. And then Drake Gartman. And that rounds out our seeds at 106 pounds. Brayton Casey, really tough for Menominee, Big Rivers Conference wrestler. Just a real tough kid, especially for his size. He competes really well at a lot of the national tournaments. And should be some really, really fun matches in the semifinals and finals tomorrow at 106 pounds. We are missing Derek Goddard from Auburndale, who's ranked 9th. Maverick Hoogland from Phillips was ranked 12th. Jesse Bauer from Stratford, honorable mention. And then Haley Casey in our women's bracket at 100 pounds, ranked honorable mention actually for the whole state. So that's 106. Anything from you, Teague, before we move on to 113?
I'm throwing my predictions in the chat too, but I'm gonna go with Gerzowinski as my champ here.
All right.
I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'll keep the receipts up.
You can keep the receipts up. There you go. So I'm not gonna comment on that stuff because I'm coaching tomorrow. But
neutral ground. Yep.
pretty excited just to watch us get after it. So I will say Wyatt Eckler got his first win of the season. And then one thing I found out about Wyatt immediately after that is that he can do a backflip. So that was something that both Coach Mackey and I did not know until after it happened. So I said, no backflips tomorrow unless you win the tournament. So we'll see. If he does manage to win the tournament, you will see a backflip. So
Coach Mackey, the official host of the live stream tonight.
Yeah, he is holding down the internet. So we're moving on to 113, and this bracket is incredibly tough. Obviously Brandon Morvari from Simley, he took 3rd in state last year and he's sitting at the 2 spot right now at 6-1. He's currently ranked number 1 in the state over there in 2A in Minnesota. And the kid that is holding down the number 1 spot currently for the pre-seeds is Colton Hush from Baldwin Woodville, who is also ranked number 1 in the state in Division 2. And he's a sophomore. Brandon's a junior. You've got another really tough Big Rivers wrestler in Carter Schultz, 5-1 from Rice Lake in the 3 spot currently. Kellen Kelly in the 4 at 3-1. Colin McDowell of Arrowhead currently sitting in 5. And again, this is just what the coaches will see at the seating meeting tomorrow. This will get voted out. Some of this stuff might shift. Coaches will go weight class by weight class, seed by seed, kind of vote it out, and it could look a little bit differently than it is right now. Then you've got Carter Sturba from New Richmond at 6, Dale Sales at Stanley Boyd at the 7, and then Carver Olson from Menominee at the 8. So there's going to be some, just looking at these top 4 alone, there's going to be some really good matches in the semifinals and finals.
It's a deep bracket when like the semifinals look like they're going to be pretty electric.
Absolutely. So I think there's going to be some high score matches. These are guys that score points, get after it. And 113 is just this is a tough weight class. This is one of the tougher ones in the tournament. We are missing another number 1 ranked kid in Colton Weiler from Auburndale. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to make the trip tomorrow. McDowell is ranked 5th from Arrowhead. Schultz is also ranked 5th from Rice Lake. And Kellen Kelly's ranked 5th as well. So you got, not only do you have 2 number 1 guys, but you also have 3 guys that are ranked 5th. And I know state rankings are state rankings, but those are guys that the ranking committee believes can get on the podium down there in February at the Kohl Center and over at the Xcel Energy Center. So that's pretty sweet. Thaddeus Sigmund from Medford will be missing. He's ranked 6th. And then Trent Kenora from Stratford is ranked honorable mention, but they're not able to make it as well. So that's our 113 as it sits right now, top 5. And even this 4-5 matchup is going to be pretty wild. You got 2 guys ranked 5th in the state that battle it out to take on the number 1 seed. There's going to be some great matches tomorrow in the quarters, semis, finals at 113 pounds.
Picks wise, I'm starting off double Simley at the lower weights. I'm going to go with Morvari.
You're going Simley. Okay. I do need to mention, so our 2019 champion for the Husky Invite was Luke Thamert of St. Croix Falls. I was going to do that weight class by weight class, and I just remembered now. And then our 113 champion was Ashton Ackman of Spencer Columbus Catholic, and that was a really, really good match at the tournament in 2019. Spencer Columbus Catholic not in the tournament this year, but that was a sweet match. So he was our champion at 113 pounds when we ran it 2 years ago. All right.
120,
moving on. Okay. And this is not a surprise. Simley's, if you don't know anything about Minnesota wrestling, Simley's tough. They've got a great program. And they've had a great program for a very long time. So very, very tough program and, recognized around their state and around the Midwest. So it's not a surprise to see another one of their guys at the top. Peyton's currently ranked 2nd in 2A. He's a senior over there in Simley. And I do have he placed 3rd last year at 113 over there in Minnesota. So I've got those results from last year as well. Then we have Kane Johnson is currently sitting 2nd for Cameron. And then you have Lucas Ryan from Arrowhead at 6-1, sitting in the 3 spot. Brody Lammers from Rice Lake in the 4. Cole Brash of Baldwin Woodville in the 5 currently. Luke Kamish of New Richmond in the 6. Dawson Klefstead, it says 8, but that's 7. And then Colin Wolf of Menominee, right, at 5-1. So that's the order right now as it sits at 120. And this is kind of shows how deep our tournament is. You get some kids down here, in the 7-8 spot with, 5-1, 5-2 records. So it's there's tough matches all the way across the board. So
that's what I was going to say. Obviously, a lot of things can change, but this is even one of those where, like, we're talking about how the semis were going to be good at 113. We're going to see some like pretty tough quarterfinals matches. Like some of these 5 through 8 seeds are going to give the 1 through 4 seeds maybe a run for their money in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then actually a ways down, let's see here. Is Klefstead on here? Yep, Dawson. So Dawson is currently ranked 11th in state, and he's down here in the 8th seed. So he's 11 in Division 3. And then we also have Lucas Ryan of Arrowhead. He's ranked 7th right now in Division 1. And then you've got Peyton, who's ranked 2nd. We're missing Derek Schernitz from Neilsville, Greenwood Loyal, because they're not able to make it. And our champ at 120 in 2019 was Trayton Ackman of Spencer Columbus Catholic.
Double Ackman brothers.
They went Ackman, and I'm pretty sure. I got to think. I think that might have been a match where one of the Ackmans beat Gerber from Cameron, which that was a crazy match. Obviously Gerber, multiple time state champion, really, really tough wrestler from Cameron, who we're going to be talking about later. Really fun to watch. Always brings the heat for the Husky Invite. I always enjoy watching him wrestle. So you got to make a prediction, or do you want me to move on here?
Yeah, I accidentally put it too early in the chat. So like our Zoom is like probably 15, 30 seconds ahead of the actual live.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So I put it in the live already, but I went with Spichala from Simley. I have triple Simley so far.
You're going Simley across the board. All right.
For a guy who hosts the Wisconsin Wrestler podcast, I'm not very Wisconsin-y right now.
All right, man. Well, here we go with 126 pounds. Our champion in 2019 is Blaine Brenner of Stanley Boyd, and he's currently wrestling for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So he was a three-time Husky Invite champion who didn't have the opportunity to be a four-time Husky Invite champion because of COVID, unfortunately. But yeah, he was always really fun to watch at the Husky, and enjoyed watching him at Minnesota. On Flow. If you haven't seen any of his matches on Big Ten Plus or anything like that, definitely check him out and support those guys. So at 126 pounds, Hunter Bonney of Baldwin Woodville currently has the number 1 seed. And that's based off of regional placement from last year, looks like. Connor Krumer, Arrowhead, 6-1 at the 2. Justin McManus of Stanley Boyd at the 3. JJ Sauce of Simley at the 4. Josh David Saver of St. Croix Falls at the 5, Jonah Berg, Eau Claire North at the 6, Zach Zappa of Cameron at the 7. So this is another tough bracket. You know, you got to go all the way down to the 7 before you're finding a guy that has more losses than wins. And there's going to be some pretty sweet matchups here between the 4 and the 5 and the 3 and the 6 in the quarters, and the 2 and the 3 and the 1 and the 4 or 5 at the semis, or the 2 and the 6 or whatever it is. So that'll be fun to watch.
My turn for a prediction.
So you bet.
I got to go with Bonte here. I know I've done a lot of chalk, but it's tough to go against a Bonte brother.
Gonna go with Baldwin. All right. So yeah, that's at 126 pounds.
I'm excited to see. I haven't seen Connor Krumer wrestle yet, but I'm pumped to see him.
So David Saber, he's down here at 5. He's ranked 9th. And then Connor from Arrowhead is ranked honorable mention. And then Alexander Nitz is not at this weight class, but he's ranked honorable mention at 126 pounds for Stanley Boyd. So moving on to 132. So our defending our champion in 2019 for 132 is Sawyer Best of Boomer Colfax. That was a pretty cool match. And I think actually they've been coming to that tournament for a long time. And I remember after he won, he went up to the news and was talking to him and just said, you know, I'm the first in school history. And that's like he was super, super pumped about that it's that big of a tournament where, you know, he went out and won the first Husky Invite title in his school's history. And it was that big of a deal where he mentioned it for the news. So this is a bracket I'm really excited about. So we got Caden Schrant of Simley, 5-2. He's holding down the 1 seed currently. Tyler Fink, Baldwin Woodville at the 2. And I'm not sure why these numbers are slightly messed up, but it is what it is. Brecken Brzezinski at the 3. Caden Clark at the 4. Zach Fitzgerald, Thomas Jefferson, and then Eli Valchek. So looks like I think when a couple teams backed out, I must have deleted a couple people, and the numbers must be just a little bit off there. So another tough bracket here at 132. We are missing number 1 ranked Jor Volk of Lakeville North. Schrant is ranked 5th right now in 2A and Simley. We're missing Caleb Casey of Spring Valley. He's ranked 5th. Brecken Brzezinski of Stanley Boyd is currently ranked 7th in Division 3. Quentin Roscoe of Ladysmith will be missed. He's ranked 10th. And then Justin Fowler is not on the bracket, but he's ranked honorable mention currently at 132 pounds for Tech Prairie Farm.
I posted this link on the forum. It just shot up like 6 people. When in doubt, go on the forum.
There you go. All right.
Hey, okay, yeah. For everyone hopping in now, we plan on doing a live stream like this. It might not always be seating stuff. It's just me talking about wrestling on Thursday and wrestling on Saturday. If you're interested in it, subscribe to our channel and you'll get notifications whenever we do go live. So I might keep plugging myself here. But
no, absolutely. I think this is great. If you're tuning in, I think wrestling needs more stuff like this. I would love to see, I was telling Teague, I think it would be really fun to have like a selection show for the WIA state tournament now that it's being seeded this year, and go weight class by weight class and reveal each one. I think that builds excitement for kids and for families. And, that's what sports is all about, is just that, looking at brackets and thinking about what might be tomorrow. I got one of my parents, I know, so he, unbeknownst to me, he went down the other day and just printed off all the state rankings and was just going weight class by weight class and writing down every kid that was, ranked in state that was coming to the Husky. And it's over 70 names, but just did it for fun, just because he knows it's such a tough tournament, and knows that, it's just kind of a fun thing to do to kind of get into wrestling a little bit more. So, but yeah, this is what we're looking at for 132.
I was almost going to go with Brzezinski on this one, but Schrant's resume, finishing fourth in state, and that's hard to deny. So
yeah.
I
mean, this is going to be a tough weight class, and it's going to be a pretty electric final, no matter what way it shakes out. So there'll be quite a few Brzezinskis running around. So Brecken's dad, Greg, is the head coach at Stanley Boyd, and then his brother Sam is the head coach over at Eau Claire Memorial. So I don't think they have a guy at this weight class. I don't know if that's by design, all right, but so that he doesn't have to match up with his nephew. So there's 132 pounds. So.
Also, not to expose you, but it's wrestling season when entering a sub is one of your tabs that you have bookmarked.
That is, yes. All right. That is one of the tabs that we got bookmarked. It's yeah. I'm even amazed that I was able to figure out how to do that. I some stuff with technology I'm really good at, and other stuff I'm a little technology illiterate. So we're just all doing our best this year. It's definitely going a lot better than last year with COVID and stuff like that. You would think like we could pick up the technology a little bit more, but it is it's been an interesting couple of years. So moving on to 138, where our defending champ is Charlie Stull of Ellsworth. And this is one of my brackets. Definitely, I would say, if you're going to keep an eye on a couple brackets on Saturday, if you're going to be popping on, taking a look at stuff, take a look at 138, because this is a bruiser of a bracket. This is one of those brackets that has just that most outstanding wrestler potential, just because it's got a lot of tough kids in it, and there's just a lot of really good local kids kind of running around as well. So this is going to be a really fun one to watch. And starting it off with the fact that, number one, we have Tanner Gerber of Cameron sitting at the 1 right now, defending state champion, and two-time Husky Invite champ, I believe, or no, one-time Husky Invite champ. As a freshman, had lost to one of the Ackmans as a sophomore, but just a really, really fun kid to watch. If you've never seen Tanner from Cameron, he's really, really fun to watch, and he gets after it. A lot of heavy hand fighting, a lot of that Northwest Wisconsin, just I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to get after you, kind of that Iowa style wrestling. So, and you're going to see a lot of that from these schools that are going to be at that tournament tomorrow. So sitting at the 2 seed, we have Chase DeBlair of Simley, another defending state champion. The fact that 2 of them in the same bracket is pretty sweet. That would be a pretty fun finals match, but even to get there, they've got to go through some of these other guys as we go on. Mason Will, a very accomplished wrestler from St. Croix Falls, sitting in the 3, defending regional champion. And if you look at this, we've got at the 3, 4, and 5, 3 guys that are defending regional champs. Christian Franchak of Eau Claire Memorial is a very accomplished wrestler, regional champ last year for Memorial. Kellen R. is a defending regional champ for Menominee, sitting at the 5. And then Bode Gabriel is sitting at the 6, but he has beaten Christian earlier in the year. So I'm sure some of this stuff is going to have to get sorted out in the seating meeting. You can only hop if you are within a spot. So, and these guys down here are also very tough. So Wyatt sitting down here at the 8 spot currently, but he's currently ranked in the state. He's ranked 5th, and just off of criteria, for however the lineup shook out last year, he's sitting at 8. So I would expect some of this to kind of shift a little bit tomorrow, as we vote that out as coaches. And if so that'll be interesting to see how the final seeds shake out. But this is the top 8 as it currently sits at 138 pounds. And like I said, this is a bracket to keep an eye on tomorrow.
So if Duchateau is the 8, we could see Duchateau versus Gerber in the quarterfinal.
That could be
again, all
matchup.
hypothetical.
I don't think it's going to quite shake out like that. I think there's going to be, that'll end up getting voted out, and that'll sort itself out tomorrow morning. And coaches do the best they can to try to make sure that, guys get put in a position where the top 5 guys hopefully get on the podium. But that's the fun thing about the sport is like upsets happen all the time, and you got to go out and wrestle the match. And it doesn't matter what your seed is or what your draw is, and you just go out and get after it. And we've seen number 1 seeds, get knocked off. Actually, one year, even in the first round, at the Husky Invite. So there's been some crazy stuff that happens. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see how this one gets voted out, though, after the seating meeting tomorrow.
Oh, yes. I'm pumped for 45.
All right. Did you make your pick here at 38, or did you make your pick at 38, or?
I did. Oh, yeah. I said Gerber's going to win a battle of returning state champions.
All right. That would be something. So 45, another bracket that I'm super excited about. Defending champ is a guy that we're going to hear about a little bit later, Cole Marco of St. Croix Falls, another just bruiser from Northwest Wisconsin here. A big fan of, Joe Rager in that program up there. They do a really, really good job. St. Croix Falls, just a fun team to watch. And they always come into this Husky Invite early in the year in really good shape, just really physical, getting after it. They've got a really, really good group, really well-coached team every year. So 145, this bracket is tough, but I do want to mention that we're missing Gavin Drexler, currently ranked number 1 from Stratford, and Zach Hansen, currently ranked number 2 from Lakeville North. So as tough as this bracket is, we're also missing a couple dudes, which is pretty wild. So Cash Raymond right now of Simley holds down the number 1 spot, placed 3rd at state last year. Austin Schmidt of Baldwin Woodville sitting 2nd. Nate Druckery currently sitting in the 3 spot. And again, this has got to get voted out tomorrow. Nolan Tomley from Prescott in the 4. Alex Poyer from Bloomer Colfax in the 5. Justin Fowler currently sitting in the 6th spot. Carson Durkop at 6-1 for Eau Claire North, sitting in the 7. Walker Ferguson at 4-2, sitting in the 8. This one is going to get voted out a little bit, probably look a little bit differently tomorrow. But just some really, really tough wrestlers here. Poyer is currently ranked 11th. Cash is currently ranked 3rd. And Druckery from Arrowhead, honorable mention. Also missing Keegan Anding from Neilsville, who was ranked honorable mention. So Durkop is he's off to a really good start for the season for us. Sitting 6-1, placed 3rd last week at Johnson Creek, which is a really tough 16-team scramble tournament. Really kind of coming into his own this year. Just did a lot of wrestling this summer. Did some Greco freestyle. And yeah, just really we're excited to see him go out there and tear it up tomorrow for us.
Prediction wise, again, tough to go against the resume. Only returning state place winner, Cash Raymond. I'm gonna take him for my champ.
Tell you what, you might want to talk to Coach Short tomorrow. He might have you we're going to get you in a North shirt, but you might end up walking out with the Simley shirt if you keep picking these Simley kids. So
I almost said I was going to cash that pick in, but I would have just left if I committed to that.
All right. Moving on to 152, where our defending champ is Jack Ganos of Arrowhead. He defaulted a pretty wild weight class where Noah Mulvaney wrestled him in the finals. 2 guys from the same school, and Noah ended up defaulting out. So he won. He's wrestling for Air Force right now. Really fun wrestler to watch. I actually have to put the pause on this. I got to run and grab my charger real quick because I'm down to a solid 11 minutes of battery here. So I'm going to run and grab that if you want to start talking about some of these guys and what they got going on their team.
All right. Yeah. So I'll just give my prediction here. I think Jake knows who I'm going to pick as well. But even just looking at Mitch Messenbrink, 2-time state champion, if you look at archive videos on Track Wrestling, go to Mitch Messenbrink's sophomore year of state and watch him versus Jalen Spuler. at, I believe it was either 132 or 138. That was one of the best state finals matches I've ever had the opportunity to call. Messenbrink is just a dominant wrestler. Last year, he pinned his way through the state tournament. It's a pretty good group in general. You look at Sam Murphy from Prescott. I know he's in the rankings. I don't have the ranking document right in front of me, but Murphy's a really solid wrestler. You got Blanchard from Bloomer Colfax. Again, this is just one of those. It's a deep bracket, but ultimately at the end of the day, I think Messenbrink's going to walk away with this one.
He's pretty electric. So he was out with an injury. He hasn't wrestled the Husky since his freshman year, but it was really fun to watch him wrestle, his freshman year. So he's currently ranked number 1 in the state, obviously defending state champ. We're missing Holopka from Abby Colby, who is ranked 5th. Murphy at Prescott is 7. Dylan Kirch of Stratford, who will not be there tomorrow. He's ranked 9th. Jamie Zolvina from Neilsville Greenwood Loyal, ranked honorable mention, and Colby Low, ranked honorable mention, will not be there tomorrow. So we got some pretty tough kids up here, right in the top 3. Hunter Graham, Gartman of Baldwin Woodville in the 4. James Chamberlain sitting in the 5 spot. Griffin Marco, St. Croix Falls, all right, in the 6. Derek Doman of Simley in the 7, and then Steel Shape from Menominee currently sitting in the 8. That's 152 pounds. All right, moving on to 160. Our defending champ at 160 is a very well-known wrestler in the state of Wisconsin, Mr. Keegan O'Toole. He defeated one of our Husky wrestlers in the finals, and we were really happy we got to his legs in the first period. That was like a win for us. And I felt a little better the fact that we got pinned in a cradle shortly after that, watching him go win a junior world title and pin the guy in the same cradle off of a very similar situation. So it did make me feel a little better. I actually messaged Ethan. I was like, okay, that does. Ethan Johnson, who's a great wrestler for us. Like, hey, I feel a little better about that one now, just because I watched him do that. Number 1 seed is a familiar face, Cole Marco, who's a 2-time Husky Invite champion, defending state champion, currently ranked number 1 in the state. It does get pretty interesting, though, because Bowen Rothbauer is currently ranked 2nd in the state, placed 4th last year from Bloomer Colfax, another tough local wrestler who's really fun to watch. Then Elliot Anderson from Baldwin Woodville, Tommy Quinn from Cameron, Chase Feiner from New Richmond, super strong, physical kid, Sam Glenna from St. Croix Falls, Noah Fannerstill from Arrowhead, and then Alex Holt from Prescott rounds out your top 8 there. So pretty tough group here at 160 pounds. And Travis Smith from Simley is at a different weight class, but he's ranked 4th currently in 2A at 160. He's up at 170. We're missing Eli Lucio from Stratford, who's ranked 5th. And Tommy Quinn is currently sitting ranked 12th for Cameron. So
I just gotta say, picks wise, I'm gonna go with Marco here, but I don't think it's as clear cut as it seems. First of all, if there's anyone from Minnesota watching this, Cole Marco, definitely a wrestler to watch tomorrow. Also gonna be a member of the 4-time state champion club.
Pretty exclusive club.
Could be 3 new people to join that club this year in Wisconsin. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Rothbauer gave Marco fits. You look at Rothbauer's record and resume from like the last couple of years, and it doesn't matter who he's wrestling. He's just always in the match. I'm even looking at his state results from last year. He lost to the runner-up 7-3 and then gutted his way to a 4th place finish. I'm excited to see that match. Well, I do think Marco's going to win. I'm excited to see like the fight that Rothbauer puts up against him.
I think there's going to be some really good matches for both of those guys all the way across the way at 160 pounds. So some good semifinal and final action for sure tomorrow. All right, moving on to 170 pounds, where we've got Noah, who Jack Ganos did win the bracket, but Noah was in the finals and defaulted out. I'm not in the room, so you'd have to ask Jeremy and Randy how that one shakes out in the room 2 years ago. But our defending champ in 2019 is Carter Paulson of Rice Lake, and very accomplished high school wrestler. So we've got Mulvaney, who took third in state last year. He currently has the number 1 seed. Travis Smith of Simley placed 6th, and he's currently ranked 4th at 160. Interesting that he is up a weight class. It's going to make it pretty interesting all the way across the board. Ethan Rubensauer of Bloomer Colfax. You notice they've got some tough kids. He's 4-1 on the year, sitting at the 3. Cameron Olson of Eau Claire North, currently sitting at the 4. Really, really fun kid to watch. He is electric. One of those kids that wrestled as a freshman, little bit in middle school, great athlete, one of the hardest workers on the team, and just said, hey, I'm going to go wrestle Greco freestyle. I'm just going to have fun. And we had a spring football season, so he'd go to spring football for 2-3 hours, and then he'd come, go to Greco freestyle and just be pummeling for another hour and a half, 2 hours after that, working on stuff with this Greco freestyle program. And I mean, just a really, really fun kid to watch. If you see him on the mat tomorrow, definitely somebody to keep an eye on. And you got Caleb Gillette of Cameron, Nick Haviland of Menominee, one of their better running backs on their football team. Same thing with some of those other guys from Menominee. Not a very, very big stretch that a lot of their really good football players are also really good wrestlers. Shane Butler of Prescott at the 7, and then Logan Gordon of Baldwin Woodville currently sitting in the 8th spot. Mulvaney is currently ranked 2nd, and then Gavin Kirsch of Stratford is honorable mention, and Landon Duval is ranked 3rd of Simley, but he's not at this weight class. We got Travis Smith wrestling tomorrow. So that is 170 pounds. Going to be some wild finals, semifinal, quarterfinal action. Going to be some sweet matches.
Yeah, I'm going with Mulvaney here. While he doesn't have to worry about wrestling a teammate in the finals this year, I'm guessing Smith will still put up a pretty good fight against him.
Yeah, like I said, you'd have to ask Jeremy how that one shakes out. Moving on to 182 pounds. All right. And our defending champ is Logan Schramek of Blair Taylor. He another just a fun wrestler to watch from that program, which has produced quite a few pretty good wrestlers over the last couple of years. So Tanner Tyson of Arrowhead, 4-3, currently sitting at the number 1 spot. Weston Candler of Cameron as the number 2 spot. Brady Thompson of Menominee, 4-2, is sitting 3. Kyle Marty, Baldwin Woodville, 4. Jin Yang, Eau Claire North. This is one of the strongest kids I've ever coached. He like a 500-pound deadlift. He's a brute. So he's going to be a fun one to watch tomorrow. Bryce Half of St. Clair Falls at 6. Brent Holzum of Simley, and then Logan B of Eau Claire Memorial down at the 8. So that is your top 8 currently as it sits, 182 pounds.
All right, this is one of those brackets where it's wide open, just from what I'm seeing record wise. And one thing I learned from our team sectional predictions is that when you have things that are wide open, you kind of got to look at other factors, other outside influences. And Menominee's pretty close, so they have a little bit of home mat advantage, obviously second behind Eau Claire. But I could see Brady Thompson, kind of using a huge Menominee crowd to his advantage here, taking that momentum to a win.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. We are missing.
I know people are going to hate that logic, but sometimes you just got to put it out there.
Hey, it's your picks, man. I mean, yeah, you pick who you want. So Sloan Welch, Auburndale, currently ranked 2nd. We're going to be missing him. Jackson Ormond of Stratford, ranked 10th. Carter Schoengarth from NGL, ranked honorable mention. Jackson Schramek, who is the brother of Logan Schramek, the defending champ, honorable mention for Blair Taylor. Matthew Roach of Ladysmith, honorable mention, and Eric Kleinhans of Whitehall, honorable mention. Big fan of Ernie and what he does down there with the Whitehall program. Those kids, really small school, really unique. If you're down in that area, go check out a dual meet on Thursday, because he gets the whole town to show up for those dual meets. I mean, they really love the Norseman wrestling program down there. So bummed that we're going to be missing those guys tomorrow, but they're all ranked and stated 182 pounds. So
I'll say, if you're a coach, looking for ways to build social media or build your team's presence or brand, follow Whitehall's social media pages. You said, their coach does a great job of building that culture. And I really think just with today's day and age, he's doing a huge job on the social media front with that.
Yeah, it's a kind of a cool little town, and just driving through, even stopping at the gas station and having a wrestling shirt on, people will chat you up like, oh, we love coming up there for that North tournament every year. And they travel really well. We're bummed that they're not going to be there tomorrow because they bring a whole crew up and it's usually a really, really fun tournament. So we're bummed that we're going to be missing them. Moving on to 195, defending champion is McKinley Erickson of St. Croix Falls. And, tough situation there for that St. Croix Falls program. Really, really tight knit community. Just a super first class individual. I was really impressed by him when he was wrestling a few years ago. So we definitely still feel for that program. Just a tough situation that they had go through. But starting with the seeds, Max Randberg of Baldwin Woodville, second in the state last year, sitting at the 1 spot. Then you've got Soren Herzog of Simley in the 2, who placed third last year. Tough wrestler. So really, really good start to the bracket. Ashton Waite of Cameron at 2 and 3 at the 3 spot. Easton Stone of Rice Lake at the 4 at 4 and 1. Josh Boyette of Menominee. So we talked about the mullet thing, and someone's going to have to look this up and verify it, but he did. I did get a message or an email about Josh Boyette and his mullet, and he was like in this national competition, and I think he did pretty well. So maybe that'll come up tomorrow at some point. He's 6-0 on the year and in the 5 spot. Dylan Polzinski at 6-1 for Arrowhead in the 6. Parker Stevens of New Richmond at the 7 at 5-1. And then Thor Sather in the 8 spot, currently at 3 and 3. And yeah, just some really, really solid. When you get a 5-1 kid down here at the 7, you've got a really, really good bracket. And those 195 pounders, as we start to get up into these upper weights, sometimes it's a one move deal. The mistakes are just really, really, if you make a mistake, it's harder and harder to come back from. So these guys are going to go out there and hand fight and get after it and battle. And there's going to be some really great matches tomorrow in 195. We are missing Rafe Smart, ranked number 1 from Stratford right now. And Carter Grew from Abbey Colby, ranked 5th. Would have been nice to watch those guys wrestle. Max Ramberg is currently ranked 7th. Polzinski is currently ranked 6th. Ashton Waite is currently ranked 7th. We're missing Grant Rydland, Ladysmith, who is ranked 8th right now, and Dan Polzin of NGL, who's ranked honorable mention at 195 pounds. So we're missing those guys tomorrow, but still got a lot of really tough wrestlers in the bracket.
Did you mean, not to correct you, but did you mean Ramberg is 2nd right now?
He's currently ranked 2nd in Division 2. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe you said 2nd. I thought you said 7th right away. I'm kind of losing.
Yeah, my bad. I did lose. I was cheering my butt off for the guys on Thursday night when we wrestled in Richmond, and I kind of lost my voice a little bit. So it'll come back tomorrow, and then by the end of the tournament, it'll be gone again. So
on that note, Herzog, I think, is going to give Ramberg a good match, and obviously clear that I have a Simley bias at this point, but it's just looking like right now, unless your last name is Hopke, you're not going to beat Max Ramberg.
Oh, man. Whew. Okay.
I'm going to go with Ramberg there. Sorry, that might have been a backhanded compliment.
I mean, hey, I think it's going to be a pretty electric couple of matches. All right, in the quarters, semis, and finals tomorrow. So moving on to 220, where our defending champ is Jake Rowell of Medford. Jake is one of my favorite wrestlers when I was coaching over in Marshfield. Just a really fun kid to watch, and just kind of a funny kid. We're missing Medford tomorrow. They're not able to make the trip up, but they really, really well coached team. Brandon Marcus, if you live in that central Wisconsin area, check those guys out on Thursday night. Go to a tournament on a Saturday because they do a great job. And with their program, they came up this summer for our Eau Claire Summer Duels up at UW Eau Claire, and was always really impressed by how they grow their wrestling program in a small school and what they do to get kids excited about wrestling. So he's our defending champ, and our number 1 seed is Gavin Nelson of Simley, who is a defending state champion. And he's a dude. He's a state champion, lost to Ben Cooter at the Donnybrook in overtime. He's a UWW 17 world team member. You don't get a lot of those. So he's going to be fun to watch tomorrow. I would definitely, in those upper weight matches, if you see his name coming up, that's going to be a match that you're going to want to check out. Cody Kwok is a defending regional champ from Menominee. It's 6-0 on the year. He is ranked 2nd right now. Nate Wendorski from Rice Lake is sitting at the third spot at 3-3. Sammy Espinal of Bloomer Colfax at the 4 at 4-1. Kevin Leclerc of Arrowhead at the 5, currently at 5-2. Caden Koppel of Stanley Boyd at the 6. Caleb Palmer at the 7 at 1-2. And Dylan Hansen at 2-5 of Stanley Boyd at the 8 spot. So that's 220 as it sits right now for the seeds. Again, we got to vote this out tomorrow, but those are your top 8 seeds at 220.
Prediction wise, go with the state champion here. I'll take Gavin Nelson of Simley. I think that might be my 6th Simley pick.
I haven't been counting, but yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, it's just 6. We're fine.
It's 6 so far. Yeah, big. Hey, that's a tough program over there in Minnesota, and like Coach Short does a really, really good job. That whole community is just a really, really big wrestling town. So Gavin Nelson is ranked 1st in 2A right now. We're missing Gunnar Hoffman of NGL is ranked 2nd in Division 2. Cole Martin of Stratford ranked 6th in Division 3. Bryce Teal of Auburndale ranked 8th in Division 3. And Kevin Leclerc of Arrowhead, who is down here in the 5 spot, is currently ranked 10th in Division 1. So again, expect a little bit of movement out of this before we finalize the brackets tomorrow. All right, moving on to 285 pounds. Defending champion is defending state champion, or sorry, 2-time state champion Tanner Gaffey of St. Croix Falls. So that's our defending Husky Invite champ. And I think watched him and was it Wade Stanger of Ladysmith? I think they wrestled at the Husky 3, 4, 5. I don't even know how many times over the years. Just a lot.
They
of
wrestled each other 7 times in their last 2 years of high school. I think it was.
And it was always one of the last matches, and it was always a really, really good match. Both of those guys would just give it their all. So it was always a fun one at 285. So Ian Sheets of New Richmond currently has the number 1 seed. He's 5-1 on the year. Cedar Langer is sitting at 5-2, is the 2 seed. Tom Fedler of Cameron at 3-2. Bryce Heinbuck is 3-3 at Eau Claire North. Just had a really, really good tournament. You don't usually hear about heavyweights scoring a lot of points. He's over 20 match points on the year when he was sitting at 3-2. So as of last week, 5 matches, you go over 20 points. He's scoring a lot of points. So he's going to be fun to watch tomorrow. Connor Moranis of Arrowhead is at the 5. Casey Johnson of St. Croix Falls at the 6. Lincoln Melanik of Menominee at the 7. And then Elena Oduwe of Simley is at the 8 spot currently. We also have Lawan Jones down here of Eau Claire North at the 10 spot. He's going to be somebody to keep an eye on tomorrow. So that's our bracket at 285. We're missing Wiley down in Whitehall, who's ranked number 1 right now in the state at heavyweight. Jimmy Schieffelbauer of Nakusa Port Edwards, who's ranked 6th. And then Alex Mueller of Stratford, who's currently ranked 10th. So we're missing those guys tomorrow, but just excited to have those programs back next year and hoping for better weather.
I think we're going to see some, maybe not necessarily local, but good regional talent in the finals here between Sheets and Langer. And I'm going to go with Langer. I've always it seems like Chautauqua Wire, Hauser Prairie Farm. They just always have good heavyweights. Ever since I've been in high school, they've just always had a good pedigree there. So I'll go with Langer, but it'll be a good match.
So we do have some girls brackets. We don't, and again, it's unfortunate. As big of a hit as we lost, because we are currently down 16 teams on Saturday for our men's. We did lose a lot of our girls. It was unfortunate because we had over 60 girls this morning when we did our initial, look at how many kids were in the tournament, and our numbers just took a really, really big hit. But I do want to, go over a couple of the brackets and kind of break down some things. So we've got Tatum Carey of Eau Claire North at 4-1. Charlie Raymond of Simley at 2-2, and then Anna Kos of Simley at 0-2. Tatum just won the tournament last Saturday down at Waukesha. She's a black shirt invitational champion. So that was pretty fun.
Your girl, I think we talked about it at the start. Your girls had a really good day at Waukesha.
Yeah, they wrestled extremely well. They did a great job, and I think it's just an awesome thing for the sport, but especially for our school. A lot of kids come up and ask us about the women's wrestling program and what's going on and how those girls are doing. And since the season has started, they've picked up, 3 more kids. I just had 2 students come up to me today and say, hey, can we come watch on Saturday? We want to see the girls wrestle. And then I think we're going to come join the team on Monday. And that says a lot about the kids on the team. That's a really nice group of girls. They work really hard. They get after it and they battle on the mat. They're fun to watch. They're going to be fun to watch tomorrow. So that is 107 pounds. At 132, we currently have 2. We've got Sydney Schindler of Eau Claire North and Raquel Kos. Sydney's brother was one of our wrestlers last year. She's pretty long and lanky, and she's watch out for the cradle tomorrow. So if you see Sydney on the mat, we've got a couple girls at 152, Caitlin Grant, and then we also have, she's 3-0 on the year, Taylor Schultz of Rice Lake, who is 1-0 on the year, and someone to watch out for.
Are Grant and Schultz maybe going to match up?
Those are, we're going to match those up. So they wrestled in the dual meet and they'll end up wrestling again. And then we've got Camry Loken of Eau Claire North and Kendra Hammond of Bloomer Colfax. And Camry is, she's fun to watch. She scores, in 4 matches, she scored over 20 points as well. She really gets after it. She also, it's a little bit different this year. We're kind of all learning together. They got done with a match and she looked at the person she wrestled and she said, that was so fun. I'm so proud of you. And they were both like, you did great. And me and one of my assistant coaches were like, this is a little bit different than the normal, post-match, like right before the handshake kind of a thing. So she works really, really hard. And she's just a really, really awesome kid. So we're excited to watch her go out there and compete. It'll be a best 2 out of 3 bracket. They'll wrestle at least 2 times, possibly 3 times, depending on how it goes. So those are our women's brackets, and that is the deal for tomorrow, man. Those are all 14 weight classes. The seating meeting will be, we got kind of a rolling weigh-in going. That'll finish up at about 9:00. Just with the weather, we want to work with people. And I know there's a lot of people that from far away that usually like to travel and watch this tournament that can't make it. So just want to again plug Teague and the Wisconsin Wrestler Podcast. They do a great job with the Scramble Cam. Check them out on the Husky Athletics, website on North Athletics, Husky TV. We're going to have 2 different cameras going, one in the East Gym, kind of focusing up on the JV tournament. That'll be kind of zoomed out so you can check out all 4 matches. And then our video Daktronics program, they do a phenomenal job. Our high school kids put together some really, really cool stuff. So they are going to have a wide view of all the matches. And then Tigo kind of zoom in on some of the different mats and kind of break down some of the different matches that are bigger matches as we get into the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. So that'll be pretty fun tomorrow.
I'm pumped for it again. I appreciate being chosen to do some commentary for it. And like I said, when you first gave me that opportunity, I was jacked. I don't care if there's 3 teams there, still pumped to be a part of the Husky for sure. But yeah. Should be fun stuff tomorrow. Jake, thanks for coming on, sharing all this info. Hope this is something we see like a little more often now from different tournaments. But no, I had a good time. We had up to like 20 people watching at one time, and I'll take that. And I appreciate the support.
Absolutely. No, anything I can do to help grow it. And I think it just adds excitement for the day tomorrow. So hopefully if you're checking us out online right now, hopefully stop by Eau Claire North High School, right? Check out some great wrestling tomorrow. That's going to be happening in the Doghouse in the East Gym. And if you can't make it in person, by all means, log in, watch Teague. Those guys do a great job. Teague, do you got anything else for me, man?
No, I was actually just going to sign off here, but yeah.
All right. Well, hit it, man.
Funny thing is the first 2 live streams I did, I could not figure out like how to sign off in like a normal manner. And I just realized tonight that there's a stop live stream button on the more thing. So, hey, learn as we go.
Hey, you know what? Trial by fire, just like some of those younger wrestlers, you just throw them out there and say, hey, we gotta learn, this is how we get after it. So,
but yeah, last plug, anytime you want to be notified when we go live like this, just hit subscribe. You'll get notified whenever we do this. Make sure to tune in, watch the Husky tomorrow. Going to be a lot of great wrestling, but until we talk next time.